Hello, this is Japan, and I have a second part to basically a video that I just did not that long ago. I was talking about Pro Wrestling Illustrated. They do a top 250 of women, men, tag teams, stuff like that, and it comes out at the end of the year. And I know we're not quite there, but I did want to talk about it. And we had the first part of the video as I predicted what their top 10 will be, and we'll see how correct I am. But I also wanted to give who I believe is having a top 10 year. This list is actually very difficult for me. I was thinking about doing the top 20, but then it kind of felt like a cop out because I was like, I could probably do a solid top 20 because you have a little bit of leeway, and if you're kind of wrong by a couple spots, it still looks pretty solid. But a top 10 is like you got 10 women across all boards and all every wrestling promotion, and you're gonna put them in here. So I'm gonna do my best and see how other people feel about it, and we're gonna go from there. So we're gonna start from number 10 and go on. Now, 10 was actually one of the hardest spots for me because I had so many people. I just had so many ideas. I was like, I could go with this, I could go with that. Because like people like Julia's had a great year. I would have loved to put her in the top 10. Haven't really liked her US title stuff, so I felt like that kind of made her go down a little bit lower for me. And then the one I really it was just like neck and neck. I really wanted to put Lyra Valkyrie here. She's definitely my 11. Like she's just up there, and if anybody argues with my 11 and 10 pick and you want to swap them, I'm not going to say no because it's so close to me. But I ended up putting at number 10 is Roxanne Perez. Now, Roxanne Perez has had a phenomenal year. Like, she's had one of the best rookie years in recent years. Obviously, Tiffany Stratton is higher on that thing, but I feel like Roxanne's, way up to this is going to be just above and beyond. I think she's going to be just a like first ballot Hall of Famer type, person because she's going to have that career as long as she stays healthy and all the other jazz. You never know with people. But she got 11th on the PWI list last year. So moving her up one spot is really not that crazy. Especially with the list that they had because they had a bunch of people that I think will fall out of the top 10. But I really wanted to put her at 10. Like I said, if you really fight with Lyra, I could also see that. There's a lot of other people that could possibly be, said that could fit in that spot. But I felt the most comfortable with Roxanne Perez there. And like I said, a lot of this isn't just based off of accolades, it's also based off of wrestling and promos and everything. And I feel like Roxanne is like that complete package. I think her weakest game is promos, but her wrestling is really good and she has a very exciting move set. And yeah, I could sell her all day. Next up, this one is kind of one that to me I feel like is an underrated pick, even though there's really no way she should be. But I have Rhea Ripley at 9. It's hard for me to put her up higher with how the year she's had. She's had some great storylines, but like title wise, she had the championship. She lost to Io Sky, and she really hasn't had that type of limelight on the title picture. But she's been in major stories, obviously, with partnering with Io against the Kabuki Warriors, and she's just a phenomenal seller out there. She can wrestle, and I think at the moment, my match of the year is that triple threat at WrestleMania. So I think you have to at least give her a top 10 spot. Now, if you look at Pro Wrestling Illustrated, they had her at 3 last year, and I do feel that she does deserve a really top spot. But I feel like a lot of the people that I have in there are just people that pro wrestling and maybe in general don't necessarily put up as high as they should be. So maybe that's where she goes to 9. But like to me, she's a like solid 9, and that you could really put her lower at any point. But me personally, that's where I have her because I had liked the people in front of her, and I think they're in theory better wrestlers than her, which is still not a bad thing to be the ninth best wrestler out of a world of thousands. So we'll go up to number 8. This one I kind of swapped back and forth, but I think I finally settled on. I'm going to put Athena here. Athena is extremely underrated for everything that she's done in ROH. Obviously, the forever champion has had an amazing title run down there. And I feel like if the existence of Mercedes Moné wasn't an AEW program, I think the treatment that they have of her would be what they would do with Athena and have her up there and doing some crazy stuff on the main roster. I just don't know why they don't do that. And I feel like it's one of those weird things to be like, oh, she's kind of underrated at 8. I mean, PWI had her at 10 last year too, and like, so I feel like she's on the mark and like everybody's radar. But being in ROH and stuff, it feels like, it's a weird spot to put her in, because it feels like there's other people that are, really going for those spots, but it's well deserved for her. And if you want to check out her wrestling and her promo skills, she's top tier to be in that top 10 spots. So then we go to number 7. This was another one that I'm pretty sure between like probably from 9 to 6, I thought like any of those positions could swap. Like if somebody put Rhea at 6, completely could see it, wouldn't be opposed to it. But I really thought these were all really neck and neck. But the year that Starlight Kid has had, it's just been great. I mean, she's obviously had to mirror Saya on the opposite side of being like the ultimate baby face, but she's had some brutal matches, and they've had like Saya's had like meaty stories, like really good stories, really good things. Starlight Kid hasn't really gotten that treatment, but she's gone out there and had almost on par the same type of matches that Saya's had. She just doesn't have the story. She's had mini stuff and a couple different people like that was doing stuff, but it feels like she's completely underutilized in Stardom, even though she is a big champion in their organization. So I really wanted to put her here in 7 because I think she deserves higher for sure, but I think from what they've built around the storyline, she hasn't gotten higher. So it's unfortunate, but I still have hope that we still got some time. She still has a belt, and there could be some stuff. And she's also was in a music video with Ash Nico, which I like Ash Nico, and that's a great pop culture thing. And I know it's probably nothing to do with bonus points, but that's bonus points for me, because it's just like you're at a whole new level when like somebody that reaches out from a different like world and a different pop culture to get this person in particular is awesome. So 7 for Starlight Kid. Number 6, I kind of had it as the same as Pro Wrestling Illustrated from last year, but I have Sari in there. And Sari is a better wrestler than she deserves to be in 6. Like, if you were talking about just pure wrestling, she's a top 3. She's in my top 3. She's always been there for the last couple of years. She is a phenomenal wrestler, but this year hasn't really been her. Like she's had some title reigns. She started as Marigold champion. That didn't really have a really huge thing. Like she had the match with Julia, which I think was last year technically, and then she lost it to Utami at the start of the year, which was the good idea. And then she kind of left Marigold, kind of was a freelance. She does her own Sariism, which is phenomenal. Like if I could give bonus points for being one of the better bookers, she would get that there. And sorry, completely didn't mean to cough, but she's just been there. She's like that solid wrestler, but I just had to put her in 6 because I think there was some stuff that like she hasn't really had good title reigns this year, and the matches that she's been in that's not her or Stardom haven't been really anything crazy. She's I think the Marvelous Tag Team Champs. She just lost the New Japan Pro Wrestling Women's Championship. So like I feel like she just hasn't really got her footing exactly who she is this year. But 6 is still amazing, and like I said, if it's just based off of skills, she's in the top 3 easily. So let's get into our top 5. Now, this one had a few different people that I could change to, but this was my personal choice. I went with Utami, who's in Marigold. She's the current world champion there. She's just had that year. She's been champion since the very beginning of the year. She's had really big matchups in Marigold. Marigold's kind of taken a step back in general. I've been trying to get some new talent, but once them getting Mayu in there, I think it's definitely helped. But she was 64 last year, and she still had a phenomenal match of the year with Io Sky last year, and they gave her 64. So she's extremely underrated. She should be a top 5, and if you haven't seen her matches, you'll love her. She has just great just appeal. Like everything about her, like just screams superstar, and she is the ace right now at Marigold. Even with somebody having, Mayu in that same organization, she still feels like she is the top dog of this organization and been the top dog the entire year of this organization. And I think she's going to have a really good match at the end of this month on the same card that Io Sky is facing Mayu. And I think she's been great. I mean, that's all I can really say. So definitely at 5. And then speaking of Mayu, I have her at 4 here. I kind of had her in my top 3 for the most of the year, but then I was thinking about all the different stuff. I think she suffered from having a very poor booked Stardom end. When she was with Stardom at the start of the year, they just didn't know what to do with her. They had her have the pink belt. It didn't really do anything for her, and it was just kind of ass. Like she just really didn't have anything going for her. So when she left Stardom, it wasn't really shocking. And she went over to Marigold, and she's been rebuilding it, but she's just had some really good matches. If you just see some of the stuff she's doing, it's great. And I already know that this video is going to come out before her match against Io Sky, and that's going to be match of the year. I can almost guarantee it. So I'm putting it in there, and I cannot have Mayu out of a top 5 in any year, even if she's on having an off year, which I would definitely say she is. Mayu is always going to be in there. They had her 14th last year on this list, and that's just criminal. So let's get to the top 3. Now, the top 3 I actually think is the most solidified thing. When I had started this list, I went bam, 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 had my top 3, and then I built around that. I was surprised. I didn't think I had it just locked and loaded, but I did. So let's start at number 3. And we talked about her a few times this year, or a few times this video, and definitely a lot this year, is Saya from Stardom. She's been the champion almost since the start of the year when she knocked off Tam, and she just retired Tam. Like they had a whole giant rivalry between January to April, and she's been everything that what Stardom is. She is the spokesperson when you see anything Stardom, even if it's just like a little news story from like some Japanese like television thing. She's the one doing the television stuff. And like I said, she's been booked extremely well. She's had matches where, a lot of people thought this was the time, and she went out there and did it. And every match that she's had, like these big time matches, she's delivered. They've been A or S tier matches, and they've been just good. Like everything about it's been good on her end, especially. Like I don't think I could say on a big time match, because obviously Stardom has a billion matches and a billion tag matches, but a one-on-one match that she's had, I cannot say has been bad this year. I've not seen a single one of them that I would say is awful. So this is why you get in that top 3. She's had just everything that you can think of allows her to be here. I really do think that a lot of people will see it this year. I think she'll get really high on the actual list because she is the forerunner of Stardom right now, and she's got that aesthetic that absolutely just kills with every type of people liking that type of thing, like the kind of dark vibe. And yeah, for me, I really knew that she'd be here. It was hard for me to really change up anything else in the top 3, but I knew I put her at 3 when I originally wrote her down, and I didn't change it. Every other spot here, I've kind of rotated people in, rotated people out, kind of moved up and down. There's a lot of different things that went into this, but these top 3 are my most solid picks, and Saya at 3 is that perfect spot. So number 2, this is impossible to say that this isn't the number 2 person, because she's having one of the best years in any wrestling has ever had, is Stephanie Vercour. I mean, she was North American champion. She was NXT champion. They had them at the same time. She went straight to the main roster after that and got herself into a battle royal at Evolution, which was just a giant grand stage. And then she won the World Heavyweight Championship from Io Sky. And she seems to be just full steam ahead going. Now, I don't think this plan was necessarily gonna happen because I think Naomi was a lot of it. Naomi's also one that could really easily have cracked the top 10. I think if she would have actually had her title run, she was doing phenomenal work before that. But when it came down to it, we never actually got to see any of it because of just the pregnancy and stuff. But back to Stephanie, I mean, she has that aesthetic. I mean, I had her in my top 10 last year when she was still, just starting out, and she's just, I mean, like I say starting out, but like just starting out with WWE. Every time, the moment I saw her when she faced Mercedes Moné on AEW programming was, I just knew this person was going to be an absolute crazy star, like international star. And once WWE signed her, it absolutely has happened. So I have her as two. I've had her as two pretty much the entire year, it felt like, because she's just gone out there and done stuff, and she's been just kind of revolutionary with her own wrestling too, because she's had like a certain moveset she was using in NXT. She's upgraded it, and she's had good matches. I do feel like out of the top 10 people, I wouldn't say she's the best wrestler in the top 10, but I think she's has that spot being in that top, 5, where she's just done amazing stuff, and I've been happy with what the kind of push she's been getting, and I really hope that her title run matches all that, because it could definitely soften it. But where we're recording it right now, we haven't seen much of it, so there could be a lot that happens. But let's get to number one. I don't know if anybody would be agreeing. I know this person probably isn't the most likely pick, depending on what you're valuing as your top wrestler. Me, when I thought about this person at number one, I went with one, who's the best women's wrestler, and then I put that person, in a category who's had the best matches, like the most consistent matches, and I put all of that, and I had all the same name, Io Sky. Io Sky is definitely the number one wrestler this year, and honestly has always been my just number one wrestler. Like I just think she's phenomenal with everything that she's been doing. Obviously the title run wasn't exactly what we wanted, but everything after that has been great with Rhea. And like I said, right now, my match of the year would be that triple threat at WrestleMania. Then the triple threat with Naomi's really high up there. And then this match coming up with Mayu is probably going to knock all of those down. So I have a feeling if I do a top 5 wrestling matches of the year, she's going to have half of them, if not three or four of them. It's crazy. I think she's number one. Now, I think the most detractors from it is that she hasn't really had the accolades that a lot of people would think, but her knocking off Rhea Ripley right before WrestleMania was shocking, and it worked really well. And going into WrestleMania as champion in that triple threat was just great. It was a great story that they did, and they got it through, and I was happy about it. This was a great idea that just was perfect. I don't know. So I have her at one. And tell me what you guys think. Do you guys disagree with my list? Was there somebody that you would change? I really do feel pretty solid on this list, but I'd like to see what you guys think. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.